Meet Barry Benson, the bee with big dreams buzzing around in his little head. Today is the day he's been waiting for, his graduation day. He's been living his life in a natural hive, buzzing around with his bee buddies and living his best bee life. But graduation is a big deal, and Barry is dressed to impress in his graduation cap and gown. He gives a quick wave goodbye to his parents, and meets up with his best bud, Adam Flamin. Together, they buzz off to the ceremony, reminiscing about their days as young students. It takes 3 days of preschool, 3 days of high school, and 3 days of college to become a fully fledged bee graduate. But those days feel like years to these busy bees. After the ceremony, the buzzing graduates are taken on a tour of Onyx Industries, where they'll spend the rest of their bee lives. Each bee has a specific task in making honey, and they also work on their defense against pesky humans while they're out collecting nectar. But Barry is different from the other bees. He's not ready to choose just one job to do for his entire life. He tries to explain this to Adam, but no one else seems to get it. That is until he meets the fearless pollen jocks. These guys are the bee army, responsible for collecting nectar and exploring the big wide world outside the hive. And boy, does it look exciting. When one of the jocks promises to take Barry on a ride, he can hardly contain his excitement. But when Barry shares his curiosity with his father, he's met with resistance. His dad wants him to follow in his footsteps and become a honey stirrer, but Barry's got bigger dreams than that. So, he sneaks away from the hive and joins the pollen jocks on their adventure. They take him under the bridge, through the fields of flowers, and up into the big blue sky. It's the first time Barry's ever seen the world from such a perspective, and he's buzzing with excitement. As they collect nectar and perform their bee duties, Barry's eyes light up with wonder. He's finally found what he's been looking for, a chance to explore and experience everything the world has to offer. They spotted a field of daisies, but as they got closer, realized these were tennis balls. Oh no! Being a newbie on the block, Barry didn't know any better and got himself stuck on one of those bouncy balls. A young girl picked up the ball, ready to serve up a good game of tennis. But little did she know, poor Barry was clinging on for dear life, screaming for mercy. Luckily, the girl's boyfriend made a mistake and kicked Barry out of the playground. But things went from bad to worse for our little bee friend. Barry landed inside a car's engine, and he couldn't find his way out. The air conditioning kicked on, and Barry was sucked out into the car sitting area. All the passengers went into a frenzy, trying to swat and spray him with insecticide. It was like a scene from a horror movie. Finally, Barry managed to escape the car but got caught in a sudden rainstorm. Bees can't fly in the rain, so he frantically searched for shelter. He flew into an open window and found himself in the apartment of the very same tennis players he encountered earlier. But things got even crazier. Barry mistook the ceiling lamp for the sun and fell into a nacho dip. The guests panicked and tried to swat him again, but luckily, the girl from earlier saved him. She turned out to be a real lifesaver. As it turned out, the girl's name was Vanessa Bloom, and she was a kind-hearted soul who loved all creatures, great and small. She and Barry became fast friends and chatted the night away about their dreams and aspirations. They even had tea together. But alas, all good things must come to an end. Barry had to return to the hive, but he couldn't stop thinking about his new human friend. He told his best bee buddy, Adam, all about her, but Adam warned him not to pursue a human relationship. Barry, being a hopeless romantic, couldn't help himself. He was already planning their first date. The following day, Barry bravely ventures out once again to see Vanessa. She takes him on a tour of a flower shop where she dreams of working, and then they make their way to a grocery store. But little did Barry know, his worst nightmare awaited him there. As he entered the store, he was met with an entire wall of honey bottles. His bee eyes widened with shock and disbelief, his precious honey being sold under different brand names. How dare they? Barry's blood began to boil as he realized the gravity of the situation. He had to get to the bottom of this honey conspiracy. And so, with all the stealth and cunning of a secret agent, he snuck into a honey company and fought off a man to extract valuable information. He discovered that the honey field was nearby and he could follow the company's truck to get there. Off he went, trailing behind a cyclist's bag and jumping onto the truck's window. He even met a bunch of insect buddies along the way. However, things quickly got nerve-wracking when he arrived at the farm and discovered hundreds of fake hives where bees were being used for their honey-making skills. This was a crisis, and Barry knew he had to do something about it. Back at the hive, he spread the word about his discoveries, and his story spread like wildfire throughout the bee community. Vanessa even offered to help him file a lawsuit against the humans responsible. The court trial began, and Barry was ready to defend his bee brothers and sisters. However, things took a turn for the worse when the opposing lawyer, Leighton T. Montgomery, accused Barry of being a hologram or robot. What? But Barry was not deterred. He called upon a host of witnesses to testify, including a company owner who exploited bees, musician Sting who used bee terminology without permission, and even actor Ray Liotta whose face was used on honey bottles without his consent. It was a thrilling first day in court. Just when things were starting to look up, Ken barged in like a bull in a china shop. Vanessa went to prepare food for him, but Ken decided to have a chat with Barry. However, their conversation quickly turned sour, and before he knew it, Ken was trying to kill Barry with a rolled-up magazine. What a psycho! In the ensuing chaos, Barry fell into the toilet and had to surf his way out with a nail filer. Ken was ready to flush him away, but Vanessa intervened and they broke up on the spot. Good riddance, Ken. It's the second day of the Beelicious trial and Leighton is in for a sticky situation. Leighton thinks he's queen bee of the courtroom, but Leighton has another thing coming when Leighton crosses paths with Leighton's stingy adversaries. Leighton tries to throw shade at Barry's relationship with Vanessa, but Leighton's got nothing on our betastic lawyer. Leighton's stinging words trigger Adam, who shows Leighton who's boss with a swift sting. Leighton tries to play the victim, but the jury sees right through Leighton's honey-sweet lies. Barry and Adam are back in business, but they notice a group of humans smoking outside the window. This makes Barry buzz with suspicion, and he goes to investigate. He discovers evidence of the humans' heinous honey theft and returns to court just in time to catch Leighton red-handed. Leighton tries to smoke and mirrors the situation, but Barry's beautiful mind comes up with a plan. He shuts down all the honey farms and bans beauty products containing honey. Honey production is shut down for the first time in history, but the bees are buzzing with excitement. They have more honey than they know what to do with. But hold your honey jars, folks. Barry's plan has a major buzzkill effect. The lack of pollination causes flowers to wither and fields to dry up. Vanessa's floral business takes a hit, and the world is in desperate need of some sweet, sweet pollen. Barry feels guilty for his actions and Vanessa wants to see the flower parade before it's too late. But never fear, bee friends. Barry has a buzztastic plan to save the day. He's going to steal some flowers and bring them back to his hive so the bees can spread the pollen and restore the plants. As planned, they sneak into the parade and steal a flower float. After driving the float away, they boarded a plane to get back home and keep the flowers fresh. But Mother Nature had other plans, and the weather turned against them. Barry, being the brave bee that he is, tried to reason with the pilots about the delay. However, things got a little sticky when they saw him buzzing around the cabin. It was a classic case of bee-induced panic. The emergency button was pressed, and the airbags were released, causing the pilots to pass out. Barry and Vanessa were left to take control of the plane. It was a high-stakes situation, but Barry knew just what to do. He compared the plane to a giant metal bee and soared through the skies like a boss. But the drama didn't end there. The control room was skeptical about bees and their flying abilities, which made Barry's blood boil. He gave an epic speech about the importance of every bee's contribution to society, and soon the other bees rallied to help save the day. The pollen jocks came to the rescue, holding the plane up while Barry guided Vanessa through a perfect landing. It was a landing that would go down in history, and the media was all over it like bees to honey. Now that the crisis was averted, it was time for Barry and Vanessa to get to work. They took to the skies, spreading pollen on every plant in sight and restoring the ecosystem. And just like that, everything started to bloom again, and the honey flowed like a river. A few days later, Barry and Vanessa started a business together, selling flowers and honey. Barry even became a legal advisor for animals in need. But above all else, he remained a proud pollen jock, collecting pollen and keeping the world spinning. Who knew that a bee could do so much? It just goes to show that when bees are involved, anything is possible. If you enjoyed the video, then don't just sit there twiddling your thumbs. Let us know in the comments below. And if you want more of this epic content, hit that like button and subscribe to our channel.